Hi, everybody. I'm just here to share a couple personal stories from my own life at the start of our Church of Cornerstone. Sometimes it only takes a quick moment in time for God to take your life in one direction to another. That happened for me many years ago, in fact, over 25 years ago, when an opportunity presented itself to me while I was at work. But before I share about that specific day and another specific day in the history and life of not only our church, but also my personal faith, I want to give you a little bit of background about my church background. I did not grow up going to church regularly. I came to know Christ as a youth in this area from a local ministry in the area. When I attended college, I was real involved with Campus Crusade for Christ, but attended a variety of churches, kind of used the time to see what's out there and really appreciated that stage of my life. But when JR proposed, and obviously I said yes, we knew we wanted to find a place to worship together. And for those of you that have been in the Middlefield area for a long time, I don't know if you remember the Jogga Times leader, used to list all the places of worship in the area. We literally cut that section out and circled the churches we wanted to start visiting. And we started visiting Sunday after Sunday, place after place. Different churches each Sunday until one particular Sunday when we walked into a church called Fellowship Bible Church. The first couple that met us and greeted us warmly at the door was a couple by the name of Alan and Dee Dee Unix. We sat down at the service and we were sitting by Jim and Mary Byler, who JR and I both knew personally. We started listening to the pastor. Preaching that day was Pastor Lud Coles. In fact, we even joined them all at their annual church picnic that first day we attended. That church picnic was at a location called Camp Burton. So from the beginning, we knew it was home for us. We quickly joined a mini church. That was the term of the home groups at that point. We joined Alan and Dee Dee's. JR and I weren't even married at the time. Alan used to tease us about making sure we weren't holding hands or anything like that during the lessons. In 1991, Pastor Goals married us. In 1992, I graduated from college and we moved back to the Middlefield area to begin our life here. We were attending and starting to get more involved in FBC. That was considered our church and we loved it, but little did we know we wouldn't be there for long. My first teaching job was at Cardinal Middle School. I was teaching with a friend that I had known for a while named Debbie Barthelmess. I had kind of watched her life over the years as a woman of faith and respected her life and her career, and was neat to be working with her and going to church with her. And then one particular day that I will never forget, it was in the morning. She stopped me in the hallway and she presented what was happening with 4 couples from Cornerstone. God had given them a vision to start a church in this area. And she had stopped me to tell me about it. I immediately was excited. I was like, how awesome is that? And was going to say something like, well, keep me posted. We would certainly like to attend there. But she continued talking, and she invited JR and I to be a part of the planning and the preparation for this ministry. Now, I know in our Christian walk, the right words are to say, thanks. I'll pray about that. I'll think about that. I'll talk to JR about that. And I'm sure that is what I said. But in my heart, I knew right away I wanted to be a part of this. I felt that God had given me an opportunity that was good and that was from Him. And so on a winter night in January of 1993, JR and I went to the home of Jim and Mary Byler to join the 4 couples that first had the vision for Cornerstone. Interesting, Lud and Murr had that vision as well. They both had it separately even before they verbalized that with each other. So when those groups connected, it was obvious that God was paving the way for this church. So we walked into Jim and Mary Byler's home. Jim and Mary Byler, Alan and Dee Dee Unix, Lee and Debbie Barthelmess, and Kevin and Noreen McNeely were the 4 kind of original couples. All 4 men were serving as elders at Fellowship, and they really were beginning to put together the plans for starting a church. And that night we joined them. So did Roger and Glenda Cruzy and Dan and Mim Ishner. What an incredible evening. What an incredible group of people. People of faith, people of integrity, people who impacted my life and have become some of my dearest friends and mentors in life. Every step of the process of bringing this church to its opening day was an incredible journey of faith in my life. To see the faithful prayers of a few become a church in a very short time was amazing. I've never been and still would not consider myself a visionary, but we met together, we laughed together, we planned together, we prayed together, we shared life together. We also began outreaches to the community, and we began taking those relationships that we had formed and brought them outside our group to see the interest and the need for this church, to expose this area to the love of Jesus, to give the people in this area a place to worship, a place to come on a Sunday morning and hear about the amazing love of Jesus. It was so positive. Everything about this process was positive. No one was frustrated with their church. No one was disgruntled with anything going on in their church. In fact, it was just the opposite. We were all attending fellowship. We were growing in our faith. And we wanted to bring that to our area, to our friends, to our family, to our co-workers, to our community members who didn't yet have a place to call home on a Sunday morning. And now that I'm a little bit at a different stage of life, I truly understand the commitment that those other 6 couples made in a different way than JR and I, because they were in the middle of raising kids. In fact, some of their kids had to switch churches at a very, very pivotal age. The men then became our first elder board, but all of them had to make sacrifices to leave their family at home at times to serve their family at church. And without those sacrifices, none of us would be here at Cornerstone today. So from the start, we had the blessing and the support of fellowship, but by no means were we ever told or dictated what we should do, what Cornerstone should look like. It was totally up to the 14 of us to decide the path of the church. And of course, we sought counsel. Some of the men attended conferences. We did our research, but we prayed and we talked and we asked for the will of God to be revealed in the direction of His Spirit, and we moved forward. In fact, Cornerstone ended up looking a lot different than Fellowship Bible Church looks. And you know what? That's okay. Roger and Glenda had returned from overseas as missionaries for the needs of their second son, Wade. Wade never did walk or talk, but he was certainly loved, and he needed to be living near the Cleveland Clinic. So Roger, an ordained pastor, emerged naturally as our spiritual leader, both within our core group and within our outreach events. So we reached the time where it was time to talk money. Faith and excitement and prayer is all prerequisites of starting a church, but without money, nothing was going to happen. So we gathered again at the home of Jim and Mary Byler, which we were doing, I think, if not every Saturday night, at least every other Saturday night for many months. And we literally passed the hat. Each couple had determined together the amount that they could tithe the Cornerstone annually. And some of the members of our team had researched the area to see what we wanted to be able to offer Roger for his starting salary. So we passed the hat and someone took the 7 slips and tallied the numbers. And that is a night I'll never forget. The presence of God is a mysterious thing. We know that He is everywhere, but intellectually believing He is present and experiencing His presence are 2 different things in my life anyways. And that night was a very impactful moment in my faith. because God took those numbers as we added them together and said to us, yes, trust me, do this, start this church. The numbers that we needed and the numbers that we had almost matched exactly. It was just an awesome evening and a night of faith for all of us. So we were able to hire Roger as our pastor, first part-time prior to the start of the church, and then full-time prior to our launch into our first service. I want you to know that we had the full support of fellowship. And I think they helped us out financially. I know they paid for some of the conferences we attended and made some purchases for us. But beginning that night, Cornerstone supported itself financially through this awesome gift of grace from God. So we all started tithing, and we were on our way to our first service, which happened in June of 1993. I guess that's it. Just wanted to share one of the highlights of this entire process. It's been an honor to be a part of this, but it's been an honor to stay a part of this. And here we are 25 years later, sitting in our ministry center, reflecting on the good things God has done. I'm humbled and honored to be a part of this church, and just wanted to thank each and every one of you for all that you all do in your own way for the work and ministry of God. Love you all, and hope you all can join us on the 19th as we celebrate the 25th, both at our service and at our picnic. Thanks.